Welcome to Kaumudy Global. Ever since Russia-Ukraine war started getting worse, people world over have been talking about the possibility of the war spiraling into another world war. And now what has been visible in Europe is a mad rush for procuring iron pills or potassium iodide pills. The immediate provocation for this was Russian President Vladimir Putin's announcement some days after invading Ukraine that he was putting his nuclear deterrent system on high alert. The fear of radioactive fallout from accidental or intentional attacks on Ukraine's nuclear plants is writ large on people's faces when they queue up to buy iodine pills. If such an attack takes place, it will release radioactive iodine in the atmosphere. Lungs or thyroid glands can absorb this. Now, what is potassium iodide? According to Center for Disease Control and Prevention, potassium iodide, represented as Ki, is a salt of stable iodine that can help block radioactive iodine from being absorbed by the thyroid gland and thus protect this gland from radiation injury. Such an injury can harm the thyroid gland, which produces many hormones that regulate the body and can even lead to cancer. The CDC further said that table salt and foods rich in iodine do not contain enough iodine to block radioactive iodine from getting into your thyroid gland. It has advised against using table salt or food as substitute for Ki. Now, how does potassium iodide work? The thyroid gland cannot tell the difference between stable and radioactive iodine. It will absorb both. According to CDC, potassium iodide will block radioactive iodine from entering the thyroid. When a person takes Ki, the stable iodine in the medicine gets absorbed by the thyroid. Because Ki contains so much stable iodine, the thyroid gland becomes saturated and cannot absorb any more iodine for the next 24 hours, it added. Meanwhile, CNN reported that the inventories of manufacturers in the United States have depleted since the Russian invasion began. Following this, the price of Thyrosafe potassium iodide tablets available in the US has gone up. London-based BTG Specialty Pharmaceuticals said it is also experiencing increased demand for the company's potassium iodide products in the US, according to CNN. Now, let us see when the pills should be taken. The potassium iodide pills must be taken only when there is an actual risk of imminent exposure to radiation. The CDC website says that taking a stronger dose of the pill or taking it more often than recommended does not offer more protection. On the other hand, it can cause severe illness or death. In the case of a nuclear event, the medication should be taken just before or after exposure to radioiodine. It can be taken 3 to 4 hours later, but it won't be as effective, according to the New York State Department of Health. The nuclear disaster at the Chernobyl plant in 1986, before the collapse of the Soviet Union, showed the dangers of exposure to high levels of nuclear material without iodine. An explosion at the plant released massive amounts of radioactive material into the environment, but people nearby weren't evacuated until the following day. Ultimately, several hundred people were killed from the radiation sickness. Some 20,000 more, including 6,000 children, were diagnosed with thyroid cancer caused by radioactive iodine released from the plant, according to the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission. By the way, the Federal Agency for Nuclear Control has informed via Twitter that the current situation in Ukraine does not require taking tablets of iodine. The agency said the medication is available in pharmacies but should be taken only when recommended by authorities.